Through brutal betrayal, rose an army, fighting for a world where no soul suffers in silence. From the group that brought you Desmond's Law, join us as we shield every paw from cruelty. Welcome to the Desmond's Army podcast, Animal Advocacy Unleashed.
All right, and welcome everybody to this special impromptu, I guess we'll call it, episode of the Desmond's Army podcast. My name is Matt Karen. I'll be your host, and today I'm joined by the Desmond Army president and co-founder, Zilla Canamella. Zilla, nice to see you today. It's beautiful weather outside. Have you had a chance to get out?
That's the only place I've been is outside.
I know you do spend
gorgeous.
a lot of time out. It's absolutely beautiful, beautiful. The snow is melting, and you can finally smell spring in the air.
Yeah.
So, normally we have these podcasts and we have a guest and we have a set topic and we really have a chance to, kind of study up and dive deep. But you and I were just chit-chatting yesterday, and there's a couple things that are really on our mind that we just want to talk about and deliver a really important message. So we said, hey, let's do like this impromptu podcast, a little bit more informal, and let's just hash out some of these issues.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it.
Let me get some stuff off my chest, Matt.
A public therapy session. Zilla, what are we talking about today?
Let's start with the death threats in cases. There's been some high profile cases lately. One not so high profile even, where there's apparently been death threats. And I would just like to say that Desmond's Army does not, will not, and has never made death threats to any defendant, no matter what our emotions, no matter how high emotions are running. We have a very strict code of conduct, and we actually denounce the act of death threats because you're not helping. Anybody that's doing this is not helping. It could be very detrimental to a case. So whoever is doing it, if you're doing it, if you have a thought to do it, just don't, and stop. It's not right. Control yourself.
Yeah.
Put a lid on it. That's all.
That's well said. And, obviously when you hear about these cases and, how horrible some of the actions are of some of the accused, your initial emotion is like anger. I mean, I think that's a normal thing.
It is.
Disgust, that maybe that's another one, but it's all about, there's a right way and a wrong way to express it. And you want to go about it the right way, right?
Right. We pretty much all feel the same way about this subject, right? We're all passionate.
Yeah.
And we love our animals. They're innocent beings, sentient beings, and to see them harmed in any way, it puts our mama bear hair on the back of our neck up. So, we become protective, but to threaten someone, let's just say, this is the United States of America. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court
Correct.
of law, right?
Yep.
So, to automatically assume and actually make a phone call or whatever it is people are doing. I don't know how they're doing it even, but to make a death threat is simply wrong. It's simply wrong, and you could hurt the case by doing it. And I know people don't want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to see justice for these animals. Justice.
Yeah, there was a saying when I was in the news business is you never want to become the news.
Right.
And I think it applies here. You cover it, you advocate, you press for transparency and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
But when you insert yourself in an emotional way and say something that you may later regret, that's where the line is crossed. And, I will also say that this era of social media that we live in now, where everyone can be sort of a keyboard warrior,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot easier to fire off something in a moment that you would regret later. But just because it's online doesn't mean it's anonymous. All that
Right.
stuff can be tracked back to you. Yeah. So that's the important thing to say. I had people too who have said to me before, I don't even understand why criminal defense attorneys exist. These people disgust me. And I know the genesis of where that emotion comes from. But like you said, I mean, it's the United States of America. Everybody does have the right to a defense, innocent until proven guilty. And these people do serve a role. I mean, it's not like no one has ever been falsely accused.
Right.
I mean, it
happens.
Does occasionally happen. Yeah.
Not often, but it
No.
happens. And you can't pick and choose where it has happened. It has to be proven.
Yeah. But like you said, the important thing to remember is this is not our people. It's not, Desmond's army people. And I mean, you do, I think, have, it's like a written manual, right, of rules that you have to follow.
Yeah, we have a code of conduct that our members have to sign.
Yep.
And if it's not adhered to, you're out. You're booted.
Yeah. Zero tolerance policy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Did you get that off your chest?
Feel a little bit better.
A little bit better.
A little bit
That's
better.
important. That's an important message. And, I do see the comments out there, and there are a lot of them are valid on social media, and they're
valid. Some are just over the top, though.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I think when you send an email now, I remember they did this about a year ago on my email account. They put in place like a 10-second delay where after you hit send, if you're like, maybe I should have worded that a little different, you can unsend it and it won't get to the person. It's like a fail safe. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've actually used that.
Have you used it?
I've used it.
Hopefully not on emails to me.
Never, right?
Okay, so we've been following a couple cases recently, Z, and I think these, are more like the high-profile cases that you alluded to. So we're talking about the Lisa Levy case, the Episcopal minister in New Haven there who is accused of multiple counts of animal cruelty for having dogs that all came down with these same mysterious symptoms, chemical burns and neurological issues. And then we just picked up on another case out of Windsor Locks where a bunch of cats were abandoned inside of a condemned hotel. And both cases are obviously very different circumstances,
right?
But they do have one theme that bridges between the both of them, and that's the involvement or maybe lack of involvement of the Department of Agriculture. So I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, let's go with the lack of involvement of the Department of Agriculture. This case of Lisa Levy was brought to the Department of Agriculture initially, and, it was kicked back to the town. There was an investigation done, and there was enough for a warrant, and the chief told the investigating officer, give it back to the town. This isn't for us. In the meantime, we lost 3 dogs. So, that's one. And with the cats, they did the same thing. Give it to the town. It's not our problem. Well, if you're not dealing with animals and you're the Department of Agriculture, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Really? Then get out of the animal business altogether, period. You don't belong there. If you're not going to protect the animals, get out of the business.
Is it a systemic issue? I mean, how?
Well,
is this just a
let's go back to the Cheshire issue with the ACO there. Multiple emails regarding the ACO in Cheshire who was basically not doing their job.
April Leeler, I covered that extensively.
April Leeler. Not doing her job. It was a huge issue. There was a case involved of, 30 dogs. Some died under her care of neglect. And the Department of Agriculture, she had multiple violations. They had gone in and they never fixed the issue. They never did anything about it. They backed out and, you know, and they knew what was going on. They knew
So
there
why
was
do they
neglect
exist?
happening.
To your point, I mean, of course they're going to tell you, "Oh, we're understaffed and undermanned and under
Oh, I
resourced."
don't want to
Every
hear
state
it.
agency will tell you
Yeah,
that.
I don't want
That's
to
the
hear it.
company line.
The case of Jennifer Ornelli. She was being investigated. She's been charged with 1 count of animal cruelty. And there was a state police officer and the animal control officer went to investigate, and she actually called the chief of the chief there at Department of Agriculture, and on her personal
The
cell phone,
commissioner?
on her personal cell phone,
Okay.
and the chief told the officers to stand down and give her a week.
Stand down and give her a week.
Give her a week. Come back in a week. It's
Oh,
all on body cam. That can be FOIA'd.
in the case of the cat hotel situation in Windsor Locks, we have a big write-up on this on our social media page, but just to bring people up to speed quickly, this is the Bradley Inn we're talking about in Windsor Locks. It was condemned a few weeks ago. No heat, no electricity, no water. People just like living in squalor. And so they said, you can't live here. Got to get out. People got out. Cats didn't. Pets didn't. They were still inside. You would think logic would dictate that a sweep of that building would have been done to make sure that there were no living beings inside. But no, they just closed it up. And so cats were in there, no food, no water, not even water in the toilets.
Yeah.
And finally, a rescue comes in. Remind me the name, Zilla.
Enfield Cat Project.
Thank you. Enfield Cat Project. And they notice one cat. One cat turns into 2, 3, 4, I think we're up to 5 or 6.
Yeah, as it often does.
Now, they're a really small rescue. You want to talk about, limited resources. But here they are stepping in, doing the job of, as you said, should have originally been the Department of Agriculture. But even another layer should have been the animal control
officers.
So now, what happened?
Whether it's coming from the police department or the town or whatever, we don't do cats. We hear that a lot. I mean, it's right in the statute book. They are responsible for animals. I think cats are animals. I don't know. I think they fall under the animal category. Call me crazy.
I would assume.
So, and we see this a lot. I mean, okay, big cities have a hard time because they have a huge feral cat population, right? But there's actually people who take care of feral colonies.
Well, and the distinction needs to be made, Z, that these were not feral cats.
These were not feral cats. These were not feral cats. These were family pets.
They were pets
that were abandoned, which is a crime.
Yeah.
Abandoning animals is a crime under 23,547.
It's so frustrating. And I don't know who the animal control officer is in Windsor Locks. Frankly, I don't even really care. But
doesn't matter.
The point is, this is a person who's getting paid taxpayer dollars, and their job description and function is literally to do this, and they're not doing it. And that they screwed up, and they know it. They know they screwed up because Channel 3 reached out to him, and there was no comment from the police department.
Right.
And no comment from the owner of the hotel. So what does that tell you?
Yeah. Well, but let's be clear about animal control also. They have to answer to their supervisor. So whether the supervisor is the police department, the town manager, selectman, whoever that is above them, that's who you hold accountable. Look at who the mayor. I mean, look at who the elected official is. That's where you have to look in these cases. It's not necessarily the animal control officer. Sometimes it is. But usually they have to take a directive from a superior.
That's a good point. It just, from the animal advocacy point of view, it's just so frustrating to see the finger pointing all the time.
Right.
you know?
And more, the rescues are having to step up and do the job of the animal control officers. And the animal control officers get no backing going back to DOAG, who does not back their animal control officers.
Yeah, it's a big problem. It's a big problem. There should definitely be, if I was still working in the news business, I'd be, there's got to be follow-ups on this particular case. This is the problem just from, with my media background, is the news will seize a story, they'll latch onto something, and then it goes away.
Right. There's no follow-up.
You have to follow up. You have to keep digging. Put in those FOIA requests. Go to the police department and knock on the door. It's a freaking public building. You're allowed to go in. And hold your government accountable. I don't know. That's just my perspective on it. All right, what else are we going to talk about?
Well, I feel better.
You feel better? Oh,
No, I
gosh.
feel better if DOAG would do their job.
I know.
It's-
Who's the commissioner there?
Brian Hurlburt.
Right, he's
When he
still there.
first took the position, he was very open to communication. He's a politician.
Yes, as all of the he's appointed. I think he's appointed by the governor, right? It's a political appointment.
Mhm.
A
Yes.
political appointment, as the commissioner positions are. So yeah, so we have a lot of cases though that we are continuing to follow up on.
Right. Lisa Levy, the arraignment is on the 20th
On the 20th.
of this month.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will be there. There is an attorney advocate that has applied to be appointed to the case.
When will they know if they're appointed?
They should be appointed on the 20th.
On 20th. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really crazy, interesting case. We haven't talked about this, you and I, but I read the warrant.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be more charges coming.
Yeah.
I think the thing that was so shocking to people and why it got so much traction on social media is the fact that, normally when we see animal abusers, they're men. This was a woman. And not only that, but a minister, someone in the community who is a woman of faith, and wrote prayers to her congregation saying to be a vessel of love for living beings. And then she was, allegedly doing all of these things to her dogs. And then you read the warrant and it details, baths of Drano and bleach and fur falling out and chemical burns and neurological symptoms and the boyfriend and was he involved or wasn't he? And it's a crazy case. One of the more egregious warrants that I've read.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad. And, multiple animals over years and years.
The pattern of sustained abuse.
Pattern of behavior. Yeah.
We see it
And
all so often.
one thing I'd like to point out is those charges, according to the warrant, should be felonies. They were written up in the warrant as felonies, and the court listed them on the docket as misdemeanors.
Was that just a clerical error?
I'm hoping so, but that's something that the advocate can rectify once he's appointed.
Oh, wow. Interesting. All right. So even to this day, we don't know officially if they're misdemeanors or felonies.
Well, they should be felonies.
Well, they certainly should, but yeah.
I mean, and they should be listed as such. I don't know what happens with the court. I noticed in the warrant where, the misdemeanor is A and the felony is B, and there was no letter. So, I don't know if that played a factor, but the word felony charges was there.
Yep. Okay. Anything else you got, or should we leave it for another episode?
Well, we can wrap it up. We want
to let people know that if this is your first time tuning in to the Desmond's Army podcast, all things animal advocacy, we want to thank you for joining us. You can write us anytime at our designated email, desmondspodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, and we're monitoring that. You can find us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Just search for Desmond's Podcast. And coming up on our next episode, because we've already planned that, we'll give a little teaser here. We are going to be talking about legislation, laws and bills that are up for debate at the Capitol, including a very, very important one that would expand Desmond's Law, which is the main one that we're pushing for, but also a few others. And we're going to be talking with Z. Help me out. What's
Joshua?
Is it
and
Levin?
Linda. Joshua Levin, yes.
Okay.
From CBA.
Joshua Levin
From Connecticut,
Connecticut.
Votes for Animals.
Votes for Animals. Thank you. Yes. And then Linda Pleve, our vice president, will be joining us. So that'll be a great conversation coming up in just a few short days. Be sure to tune in for that. We will say goodbye to you for now. Thank you for joining us for the Desmond's Army podcast, all things animal advocacy. We'll see you next time.